department, in this behavioral department that we're going to be, uh, that I'd like to get the software into, we will not be prescribing medicines. We will be monitoring the patient's use of their prescribed medicines, but we're not prescribing it, right?
Yeah.
It'll be community health doctor more than likely, public health, and they'll
Yes.
be prescribing the medications. But she's still not on board, and I really need to come up with a use case scenario, and I don't need it till in January.
Well, I can tell you that we are in the process of breaking, of basically identifying the top market segments for the technology. And I think one of the segments that will appeal to Plymouth would be the mental health professionals, for
Yes.
example. And then
Yes.
within that, let's just say from a biomarker perspective, you got the HRV, the emotional coherence, the stress index, the fatigue markers, the alpha and the theta frequencies for relaxation. And they're all things that we're working on now. So we're going to spend the Christmas period essentially putting together essentially white papers that, that will apply to each of the segments that we've identified. And we will be able to essentially share them with you in the new year. And also to be able to actually, when you log in as a mental health professional or when you log in as Plymouth Housing, you'll be able to actually see these straight away without having to delve into the massive, massive array of data that's there.
Yeah.
Because we do have a huge amount of information, which I know that you understand and I understand, but when you put it in front of somebody like Gwen, she's like, oh my God, that's a ton of information. So
Yeah.
we need to simplify, and that's something that we're working on. So we have been working on breaking it into market segments, and we have, like, let's say the top 5 that we've identified so far are fitness and sports professionals, chiropractors and physiotherapists, health and wellness practitioners, alternative medicine practitioners, and mental health professionals. So I think the last one is going to appeal more to you based on my understanding or based on our understanding of essentially what you're trying to achieve.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it is a document that I will ask you to help me with when I have the
Yes.
first version of it ready to go, because we all know that it will be very powerful aid to help the people who you're helping. Just even listening to the frequencies that you'll be able to build for them, for each of them, custom frequency profiles, that when they listen to it, it will bring them right down, which I know is basically, which I know will save you guys a fortune in terms of all of your housing being destroyed by people who are angry and full of rage.
Yes. Yes. That was my thought exactly. Um, I was trying to explain to her, with all of the data, I was saying, well, okay, so, a lot of it is willpower, even willpower for me to quit smoking, right?
Yes.
I'm totally on board with this, right?
Have you
So
been successful quitting smoking?
no,
Me
I
too.
have, but I'm not, I'm really, I am using the frequencies, but I'm using them more for internal and, trying to restructure. I know I need to quit smoking, but I'm trying to just do little bits at a time, right? And I use, it's not really the 21 day, but it is the 21 day concept. And I select frequencies, subsets of frequencies, and put them and just broadcast them at night when I'm sleeping.
Yes.
And
That's
I
actually very, very interesting that we could actually build a custom profile for people quitting smoking, because there actually is one of the frequencies for addiction. And,
yes,
and that addiction could apply to class A drugs, all the way to smoking, all the way to coffee,
yeah,
and everything in between. So that's actually a really interesting use case, particularly for people who are going to all stop smoking in the new year, like
yep,
to to actually build to build a custom program for them to actually take them on a 21-day quitting smoking kind of program. So good idea, Daniel. Very good
I have a
idea.
really good protocol for that, Stephen.
What?
I have a really good protocol for that. I was trained by one of the only, well, back then it was a decade ago, the only government-funded addictionology and compulsive disorder clinic in America.
Okay. Yeah.
And he does auricular therapy. So there's
Okay.
like this thing called the addiction axis on the ear, and
Yeah.
he actually puts an electrofrequent instead of the needle
Yeah.
like they do for 30 minutes. It's like you only have like a minute on these points. So if
Mm.
you guys could get those frequencies that would get these points on the ear,
Yeah. It's
you
fantastic.
know, uh, it works.
I,
Wow. Yeah.
I have taken the acupuncture and had the acupuncture needle, not a staple in my ear for 3 weeks. And then they took it out. And then, I guess maybe just stress. But I've also now, instead of putting the staple in, they have just, it's a little Band-Aid that you could hook up to a wire because it's more like like when you do the
Yeah, the
EKG.
microcurrent, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've never used that, though I do have a Hulda Clark, Radio Shack project box with a 9-volt battery that I am doing. I haven't used this thing in a long time, but it was just basic frequencies that you attach to you heal. Oh, yeah,
Very good.
yeah.
You get that there, and then yeah, but you could use your finger with these points too, and like a licorice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Daniel,
anyways, we can move on.
Daniel, can I ask you something? Is it about that the person who you care for doesn't understand why this person should have certain qualities? Is this a question for you from you?
I'm sorry, Mike. It's Michael.
Yes, Michael.
Okay. Well, the person is a psychologist, a degreed psychologist,
Mhm.
and she is the director now of the behavioral health department, which we just started up. And the program is running now,
Mhm.
and it's just in a test mode in one of our buildings, but it's more for our tenant population. I work for a company called Plymouth Housing. We have around 1,500 units in buildings from 1904 to brand new, and they're homeless. They can't even get on the waiting list unless they've been homeless for a year. So we're dealing with, uh, you know, not just drug addiction, behavioral health problems, being up on meth for 4 days, but also, born with, uh, mental health issues from, well, we're serving a population that's really been under the boot heels of society, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I
And
understand. But if you're in this condition, I mean, they're the basic needs. Like, do I have home? Can I have something to drink? Can I eat? Is it warm? Can I have a shower? So I think those folks really have the perception of their addiction, of course, which is the main burden, and then further on the basic needs. But I think what the system is doing is really balancing out stuff if you're on a different level. And so my first question to Stephen is, because I think it's interesting. Now I work with the system for around 4 months.
You are one of
And
the users, Michael.
yes, and Michael from Germany. And I like the new Express, or the way where you click on a button and have all the main frequencies you can use
yeah,
and go to. And my question here is, because everybody who works with the system, I think, should ask the question for him or herself, what is the aim of doing that? And if I do that, for example, if I go to the Express thing, things are collected from the side of the software for me, right? So it goes on automatic. So I do a scan, and later on, the software is telling me, now you can balance this and this. And of course, I can change the themes and organs are in it or not and stuff like that. But I like to know under which condition the software is selecting the main frequency I can go through for 30 minutes, beside the meditation, which is another option.
Sorry, can you just actually redefine that question for me? I'm
Now,
not sure I
if I
understood.
do a scan, I do a scan, and then I could go to the Express button where I will be shown specific frequencies which I can get, yeah, right, for maybe 30 minutes or 5 minutes or so.
Okay, so let's just say I've a scan here. I go into harmonic boost.
Yes.
This is there, and this is the harmonic
Yeah.
boost, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Harmonic. Yeah, right. So,
play
and
that
now,
then.
of course, I can say, okay, maybe my last intentions are not fine, so I do that, or my kidney and the liver, which are, of course, the main organs and stuff like that. But I noticed that the BioCoherence software is doing the selection of the stuff which is listed here, and
Yes.
I want to know. Maybe you answered it today or another day. Under which condition they select those themes?
Well, do you know what? That actually leads me on to the start of the webinar. So thank you very much, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass on the apologies of Medrick. He can't make it to the call today because he is engaged in a very important project of getting version 1.19 released to the general public, which will basically move us out of test flight. And he is massively engaged in that at the moment.
Very good.
But it means that I think actually Medrick is the perfect person to answer that question for you. Because we do select the frequencies based on the scan, and you can add your own frequencies in. But the actual how they are selected for you based on the scan is a question that we should probably talk to the master about himself. So what I'll do is I will ask him that question, and I will come back to you if that's
Perfect.
okay.
Thank you. And to all the other.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about to leave test flight. We're just about to release version 1.19. Most of the improvements that you're going to see when we go live are all mostly under the hood. They are the under the hood improvements, but there are some things that you'll see. For example, you'll be able to play the meditations with the screen off. So you'll be able to actually turn your screen off and the meditations will still play. You can actually now mute the voice, or you can mute the frequency, and you can also change the speed of the voice as well based on your own personal requirements. And then with all of those features in place, which are absolutely fantastic, like it's very, very powerful to be able to change the speed of the voice, and which is actually inspired by Tino, to actually be able to increase or decrease the sound of the Spanish voice. And we also are going to have the meditation content in 5 languages: English, French, Spanish, Korean, and German. And we will also soon be able to export the meditations as an audio file. In the same way you can export the frequencies, you'll be able to actually export the balance as an audio file, so that you can actually play it outside of the BioCoherence application, which is a really, really big one. And then we also have coming soon, there will be new meditations and TCM recipe introductions as well. And if we go back to the start of the conversation, when we say new meditations, that could be a stopping smoking meditation, or it could be, whatever type of meditation that the person needs, or where they are in demand. You will then be able to see coming soon the public collection of frequencies and meditations as well, which will basically be created by the professionals of the world and will be made available publicly. We will also have in the next release a much better way to track your trends with a new feature called curves, which will basically allow you to actually much easily monitor the progress that you're making. And I think I may have glossed over this, but we've now changed it to collections. So it's now, instead of the balanced library, it's now basically collections. So you can basically view the public collections, or you can build your own collections that you want to use from a day-to-day basis. We also have updated the biomarker progress in that it has a much more compact view. And from a system improvement perspective, We have improved the synchronization between devices. So if you're doing a scan on your Mac and then you want to be able to view your report on your iPhone, that actual sync will be a lot more streamlined so that it basically happens very, very fast. Speaking of speeds, there'll be a much faster MP3 creation and an improved recording quality. And also, you will now be able to see the time on the sensor, because actually for a lot of you, the time on the sensor is wrong. So basically the time will be synchronized with your device. So where you are in the world, it will basically show. And then as well as that, a number of bug fixes and improvements, as well as graphical improvements. So it's been a really, really big release. So we are hoping that that's going to be live maybe before the end of December. You know, I'd be surprised if it's not out by the end of December, but it is something that is being actively worked on right now. And I'm in the very, very fortunate position to be able to see it before it goes live. And everything that I've just described to you works perfectly, bar a couple of little bugs that are being ironed out right now. There is a huge war between Mederick and the bug happening as we speak. And so that's why he's not available to be on the call today. So from a product perspective, there's huge improvements on the way. But I think for me, the really big one is being able to play the balance with the screen locked, you know, so that when the screen goes when the screen turns off, you'll still be able to listen without any stoppages or anything like that. So
Sounds very exciting.
hello, Frederick, and I'm
How
glad
are
to
you?
see that you're able to essentially complete your purchase. So I was very
Yes,
happy to help
yes.
you. Things are
I
good now.
just had one, speaking that I just signed up for that, you know, a thought comes to my mind. I don't know if anybody else thought of it, but you're changing it to collections.
Yes.
And when I hear the word collections, I think money. I think someone's trying to collect. I was wondering, maybe you want to use a word like library or
it could be
storage.
or it could be an art collection or a meditation collection.
Yes, yes. I'm wondering, anyway, just my thought that maybe the word collections could mislead if it doesn't have some kind of referral, like, you know.
Okay, and we absolutely are open to debate on that, because we see you guys and girls. Thank you very, very much for all of the effort and all of the work and all of the suggestions and all of the energy that you have given to this application so far. You guys are the original few who get to actually use the application to give us your feedback. So it is completely open to debate. And once we go live, these things are words that can be changed very, very easily, you know.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Frederick. And the full recap is that the release should be out this week, you know, providing the bug has been fixed, but I am receiving very positive feedback about that. So then I wanted to just basically move on to something else. We are in the process of identifying all of the market segments, which I have spoke about in the commercial group with some of you, that we're basically identifying all of the different places where BioCoherence can be used. And we've now essentially targeted in on 5 markets just for now. Like there's basically 5 of 100 potential markets. So from a fitness and sports professionals, which would be somebody like Christoph would have some really good feedback on, chiropractors and physiotherapists, health and wellness practitioners, mental health practitioners, etc. Because this is a huge product with a massive, massive amount of information. We are exploring and working with nearly every discipline available to man for the past, 5,000 years are all being put into this one application. But now we need to essentially break it into different markets. So we are in the process, and over the Christmas, we are going to be producing a series of white papers, essentially, saying here's what BioCoherence can do. And let's just say for the mental health professionals, here is essentially all of the biomarkers that you need to be essentially looking at from a mental health perspective, or from a chiropractor and physiotherapist perspective, or from a fitness and sports professional perspective. Like if we just look at the mental health, as we were saying at the start, you know, you have the emotional coherence, the stress index, the fatigue markers, the alpha and the theta frequencies for relaxation, you know. So we just need to now essentially go and identify all of the markets, and then to be able to produce a white paper. So you, let's say Daniel, can go into your manager and go, here's exactly how this product is going to help us today. But we also, sorry, I'm actually getting some messages here as we're talking, which are important for this call. So we are in the process of doing that. And then we are also going to be producing a video quite soon to actually show the power of sound frequency. So let's just take the world of somatics, where you essentially can have the speaker and you have the metal on top, you put the sound and you start to change the frequency, and you see all of the different geometric shapes being produced. We want to essentially make something like that to actually go and show to the average person on the street the power of sound frequency, because actually most people beyond this group and beyond a very, very small group of people don't actually really know what sound can do, you know. So what we want to do is, and what we will do, is produce a very, very powerful and very, very simple. It has to be simple to actually show how powerful sound frequency can be, and then to even bring in the BioCoherence frequencies and actually show the effect of them on the sand or on the salt. And then for you to be able to make that jump from looking at it from that demonstration into how it can affect your own physical being. So they're all the things we're working on. And for today, I guess what we'd like to do is just actually ask you, you know, is there anything that's lacking? Is there anything we should be putting our attention into? Is there anything that we need to be explaining a little bit better? Is there anything at all coming from the experts of the world of BioCoherence, which are you guys? Is there anything we can do to improve it so that 2025 can be even more exciting for Medrick?
Oh, I have two things I can mention if you want.
Brilliant. Yes.
One is that, of course, if you work with people, it's always good to have examples of people who are pretty healthy and pretty sick. So, for example, if you have a scan only for the organ systems, and you see, okay, now this is a person, for example, this looks like a person who is exhausted, but not, you know, sick or something like this. Or this is a situation of a person who really goes to the doctor, or this guy is totally biohacking, something like that. I think this would help to get us some examples, some screenshots of people who are really sick. And the other thing, I think it's important, because I noticed that the price list is pretty much complicated in a way, and to make an example, for example, okay, now if I'm a normal guy, I will have a me account, and if I have a me account, I only need the small the simplest status, which is, I think, $20 or something like in a month. Or I switch to, for example, we're looking for, now I want to switch from this status to the pro status only for my family right now, in the situation where I am in, and what is, you know, because it's a lot of numbers and a lot of information, but I cannot grasp it. And for example, you know, if I'm a normal guy, I can get the basic. And if I'm a biohacker, I need the pro version. And if I work as a chiropractor, I need of course, the other versions, things like that, to make a little bit more accessible. I think that would help a lot.
And in fact, actually, just to actually add to that, and thank you for that, Michael. That actually would go on the back of my call with Frederick maybe an hour ago, where he was having some issues just actually being able to select the right the right plan and to be able to go through the process. I think it is fair to say that most of the effort has been basically on the functionality of the application so far, and making sure it works and making sure that it really helps people. And all of those bits that you just described are all very simple user interface flows that, you know, that we will definitely take a look at. So thank you for bringing that up, Michael. So there's no Kat.
Yeah, this is Kat.
Hi.
Good morning, Stephen and everyone. I think that sort of leads into something that I wanted to ask. I was hoping to make a purchase to register it for my business before the end of the year. But from what I've looked at, there doesn't really seem to be a category that fits. I am a health practitioner. And so, Stephen, I think a couple of times when I've gotten to areas that are blurred out, that drives me crazy when I can't see something. So I definitely would want the pro version. But I've come to the conclusion that I'm sort of like, I think Daniel was talking about maybe last week. I'm in my 60s and I'm actually to the point where I'm trying to retire. And it occurred to me that, and I've also been, working with Anthony, and I had hoped to discuss this with Anthony, before today, and I just haven't had a chance. But I've sort of come to the conclusion that, for one thing, as far as my practice, that this may be a way that would allow me to bow out of having daily clients that I, work with one-to-one, to just offer them this. And I'd also like to take advantage of the fact that I've had a, 20 plus year career in alternative health. And I have lots of contacts, not only in Minnesota where I live, but around the nation and around the world for that matter. And so I'm thinking that what I need, and I don't know if this exists, is some sort of affiliate type, program.
Yes.
Like I said, I mean, I definitely would need access to all of the information as far as, demonstration, purposes. I probably would, continue to use it for myself. Maybe, family, friends. But I can't really justify, I'm not going to be using this on clients. I'm not going to be, continuing my practice or expanding my practice. And so it's kind of, it's difficult to justify the, professional, version of it. So, and then one more thing that kind of goes along with that is that, I lost the other thing. So anyway, I'll stop there for now.
That's okay. And thank you for that, because we actually do have an affiliate program, and I'm actually finding it difficult to access it because I'm logged in as an administrator here. But basically here you can see here on this screen, like this is actually my screen, but when you log in by yourself, if you go to biocoherence.net/affiliation codes, it will take you to a screen that looks very, very similar to this. And you can see essentially the commissions, and you can see the percentages based on, if somebody buys a pro license, or if somebody buys any type of license. With regards to the sensors, we're still trying to figure that out because we have distributors who basically handle the sensors. So we're actually trying to work that out. But if you go into your invitation codes, start a new form, and let's just say I want to do a code name for cat, code for cat, excuse me, what? And save information. So there, right there, you'll see A37 or 1830. That's essentially the affiliation code that you'll be, or that if I give that to you and you make a purchase using this affiliate code, then the person, sorry, in order, so let's just say I give the code to you, you will be able to essentially get a discount, or sorry, you'll be able to get free reports. You'll have essentially you'll have a number of rewards that will change as we progress and as we advance, but it will be in your best interests to use this code, and then that code is then tracked back to me so that I actually earn the commission on essentially anything that you purchase. So we actually do have it in place, and there is a document which I can send. I think I sent it into the commercial group recently, but there is a document that basically explains it in a lot of detail. We just don't have the ability right now for you to actually be able to see in real time all of the affiliate commissions coming in, but we do have that in the back end. We just have to actually build the interface for you to actually be able to see it. So to answer your questions, yes, we do have an affiliate program, and it is something that, you know, is going to be of benefit to the person who's going to use the code, and then it will then allow you to track all of the sales and revenues back to yourself.
Okay, well, thank you. Actually, that was the second part of my question that you answered. I was going to say, are affiliate codes available now?
Yes,
Because I have a lot of people who have said, what is this? You know, you're working on, I want to know more about it. And, you know, so I have a lot of people on hold. So, and is there something I need to purchase in order to be an affiliate?
At the moment, no. All you need to use is this code here, A375. Sorry, no, that's actually my code. So if you guys want to use my code, I'm more than happy. But no, so basically you have an affiliate code which would be A and 3 numbers that will track back to you, and then you can create specific ones if you want to run a social media campaign, or if you want to give it out to a network of people. It just basically allows you to track the success of that code, you know. So, and we will also have monthly reports sent out in lieu of being able to real-time track it behind the scenes, but soon you will be able to track it behind the scenes. Daniel.
Okay. Thank you.
Avec plaisir. Daniel.
Thank you. Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask about the affiliate program. Anthony tried to explain it to me, but without, you know, looking at anything, and just kind of over the phone, and because I want to get some more sensors. But, you know, right now, with, you know, it wasn't really a total, I'm not interested from Win, but it was more of a, well, you know, I don't see how this is going to help me. We need more information.
Sure.
Okay. And, you know, everybody's busy. She's the director, and, you know, this is her baby mental health starting up. So she's, you know, right now she's taking a break from it for Christmas, you know, for holiday. But yeah, that's, you know, the white paper will help. I don't know how much she's going to be using. I generated an MP3 for her, no meditations, just the frequencies based on her scan. And I didn't do anything to the scan other than just select, you know, just select it and generate the MP3. So, you know, I looked at it, but I don't really, anyway, it's not even in her name, it's my name, right?
Yes.
So there's several, I have a little note because I haven't really added contacts yet, right? Because I've just been going with the software and then doing tests on people. You know, some people say, okay, yeah, that's great. And then other people say, you know, I don't know about this.
Well, do you know what? Like we said, you know, that comes down to we said essentially that comes down to essentially creating the white papers, because, you know, the main objective has been to build the system, and now it's time to basically target the specific segments. And we will work with you to build one that will essentially both excite and delight Gwen, and hopefully result in you guys using the technology in early 2025.
Well, I think what Michael brought up about, you know, this is healthy. I need to figure out a way from some of the tenants, and, you know, there's a lot of them that know me. I mean, I worked for the company for 10 years. So I would like to throw in, because these, I don't know if I can get the ones that really have the severe behavioral health, because, they're on one day and then they're off for a week or something, you know what I mean? It's really hard to interact with them. And, these are people that'll stick a needle in their arm 3-4 times a day, but nobody else can stick a needle in them. And I'm trying to push the point, well, you just put your thumbs on this, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know how I can, I'm right now trying to figure out the legality of it, because I am working for the company. And if I take data that, I'm not sure, I have to work that out, but I think these scans would be very beneficial, because, I mean, these people, I mean, we're pulling them out of the gutter when we put them in our building, so it's, when they get their ticket punched, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, look, like I said, we are going to work with you. I'm going to work with you to essentially create that document, which will then be essentially the foundation for all future kind of approaches into your industry. So we will work together very soon on it, Daniel.
Okay, I am going to be retiring, maybe even at the end of December from this company, so that will change the legality of it. But at least working with Plymouth. But yeah, and then it's this full time.
Fantastic. TJ, you have your hand up there, the rock man.
Yeah. Well, first, Daniel, I'm sure with this tech, there could be some frequencies made, because I've had really successful experiences using frequency medicine with like the biophoton for people addicted to drugs, where I would like clone the frequency and put it in the candy, because sugar tends to hold the frequencies. So I wonder if there's sounds that I'm sure they could write something that would address those things specifically, that could help people get off addiction. I've seen it work with this type of technology. So
Well, TJ, that's great. What
yeah,
I can,
I hear what you're saying with like applying it. I'm just saying like that's out there and that this has worked and I've seen it work before. So that's
I'd be more
more
than
so
happy.
for them on the back end if they're writing the frequencies. I don't know that would, of course, how the AI makes it towards the person's body due to the reading is also like effective. But if you put those codes in there specifically for those addictive substances, I bet you could get that to work. So, but what I was gonna say, my hand question is that what I've been getting with people is that people want to see what this is actually doing to them. And I know I'm still a little fuzzy on comparing the progress. And maybe if there was somehow where that was super specific on the app, where when you have a person in for a second reading, it's tough to read flower petals.
Yeah.
And however it's going on, and nobody knows what they're looking at. It's cool. A lot of it looks at it, but it's mostly over people's heads. We've been working on this. I mean, what's it been like a couple months now, 3 months or whatever that we've all been on here. And it's still tough to read and figure it out, but I'm getting more familiar. But somebody that just comes in, gets a reading, oh, that's cool. But I don't know what any of this said, but they try it out. So I'm just saying if there's like something that it's like, hey, here's a chart that is super simple that shows your improvements. Like, hey, these meridians were blocked. Now they're not. This organ was unstable or destabilizing or whichever. So
Or agitated.
Yeah, I mean, people don't even know those words, but if we have something that's a clear chart that charts progress that people can just see, the average person that doesn't know anything about this, I think that would be huge. That's what most people are asking for, because we're trying to learn how to read these charts to pitch it in that right way. And this happens across the board in the healing arts field, is that a lot of times you need to take good notes to tell the person where they're at, because especially if they're healing, they don't remember what was wrong. you know, I need to do that like in sessions even, because it's like someone comes back, how are you doing? Oh, it's good and whatever. What do you get from it? Well, I don't know. And then I go through my list. It's like, well, you still depressed in the morning? And the person's like, oh no, I guess not. Is your neck still sore? No. So are you following me on that?
Yes, but I think I would describe it in a different way. We are the experts and we use the software, and the client maybe looks at it a little bit, but we are the one who translate it.
Correct.
So we should be the expert in explaining exactly where the weak points are. And this is what we do all the time, you know, say, okay, these are the strong parts, these are the weak parts. Let's work on the weak parts and make a scan 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later and see whether there's an improvement or not. But this is my way of doing it, to explain it really clear what the problem is, and if the client can see what I can see. So in a sense that,
there, Michael.
yep.
Sorry for interrupting you. Here's
Yep.
here's the new feature, curves, which actually it's a much better way to track a person's progress. Excuse me for interrupting you there.
Oh, no problem.
So
Yeah.
basically, and then from within there, you go straight into your balance library and you can essentially update the curves from here. So this
And
is something
this is new on the
yeah,
update?
this is brand new. This is
Okay.
this is something that's literally hours old. So
Wow.
yeah, yes, it's like
Yeah.
like we were reading your mind.
And
So
yeah, I mean,
baseline.
we've been talking about this softly too in past weeks, you know, but I agree with you, Michael, but here's the thing. If people are coming in for a session and someone's using the app as a practitioner, you know, then you're getting paid to read the chart to them or whatever else. But then there's also these aspects of the app where the people are actually buying the app and doing it on their own, where that's not as user friendly either.
No,
You know,
no.
it depends on how we're doing this in our country and everything else and reading it. But that's one of the feedbacks that I get. And then that chart looks great, and I get like the practitioner should describe that, but how we're figuring this out, and this is something that we've been talking with Anthony too, is that if there's like a more coherent manual or something like that, we're kind of bumbling around trying to figure this out ourselves and how to read the charts. But if we're bringing somebody on, you know, it's like, well, how do I read these things for my client? How is this going to work for my client? And I'm going to make them want this and ask for more. You know, like some kind of manual where somebody can learn this quick, you know, rather than taking 3 months.
Yeah, but it doesn't, it's not working because it's not a quick thing. This, you know, you have to know Ayurvedic, you have to know TCM, you have to know, you know, have to know who Dan Winter is and stuff like that, you know. So there are so many basic stuff involved in basic understanding about cosmic principles that for me is always the best way to that the client gets my perspective of his condition very clearly, and say, this is maybe the main problem, and because it's not easy to operate, but you can do a lot of things with it on the other hand. And I remember one time in the first call here, someone asked whether this is for everybody or if this is only for professionals, and Merrick said more or less it's created for professionals. I mean, a normal user who knows basic stuff can use it, no question. But the problematic you are talking about is really how transport the content to the client, so the client really understands and say, okay, now I understand my problem.
Well, actually, we actually are making it available for the everyday person via the 21-day balancing program. You know, in that you don't even need to go in and do and read all of the information. You can if you want, or you can just basically use the play and, you know, essentially scan, go straight into the harmonics, and then go straight into the 21-day balancing program. You know, so that actually does make it massively accessible to nearly everybody in the world. With the addition to the Apple Watch functionality, in addition to our new partnership with Samsung, where we'll be able to actually get feedback from the Samsung wearables. You know, it's basically going to open up to everybody in the world. Now, as a professional, absolutely, you know, this is going to revolutionize your practice in terms of the amount of things you're going to be able to go in and analyze with the end user. But, you know, but again, the main focus this year has been to get everything done, get it all right. And now we can start going in and fine tuning it for all of the different market segments that exist. And also, you know, to actually improve the interface or improve the flow to make it a lot easier for people to be able to interact with, you know. So we are working on all of that. Daniel has a question.
Well, you know, that chart that you just showed, that's wonderful. And I'm assuming that with the ELFI frequencies, the ELFI frequencies are either optimum for that particular component, or that's the baseline, however you want to look at it. So when that chart comes up, and yeah, it's the pedals and everything, but you know, maybe I'm just too technical or whatever, but you know, I want to see how, when I look at these charts, I really want to see how the baseline, you know, and so the movement, you know, the movement chart with the bars and the lines, and you know, and it's always, you know, it's really not kind of the 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 bar can be longer or smaller, but it's really not centered on the baseline in the center. You have to look at the little square, right? The little rectangle, and then that's in the center. And so that would either be above or below the horizon line. But when you look at that last chart you showed me, it's just kind of a chart out there, you know, it's just out there hanging, right? So I know that it starts on the left side and progresses to the right. Okay, I get that, but it doesn't really show, or it's not easily explainable. And I'm not a professional, right? But it's not easily okay. So you know, I see all these bumps and stuff, but it's just hanging out there in midair. What does that mean? You know, and just because it has the one flower petal, that one flower petal can demonstrate. Oh, I've got the book. I've been reading the
Okay,
book.
good.
I've got it in both versions.
Okay,
What I'm
good.
saying is for visual, right? Okay, and I get the visual and I understand the flowers, but that, you know, the position where the petal is can demonstrate three characteristics. And each characteristic will have a different subset. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, that's the way I understand the petals, right? Because it just goes from left to right, above the horizon, left to right, below the horizon. But you can have one all the way over here that's really positive, but and then have one over here that's in the center, and it's like, oh, you know, this is agitated, right?
Sure.
And it doesn't, you know, at least for me, it doesn't click. You know, oh, how can it have so much power here, but be agitated? I mean, I get why it's agitated, but you know, that's a really hard one to express. You see what I'm
And I
saying?
really wish we had Medrick on the call right now. But this is all really good feedback, and you know, like everything you guys are saying is being taken down very, very seriously. So you know, so this call, I think this call is very, very powerful actually for the next phase of biocoherence to actually, you know, go, okay, it works. It does all these things.
Right, and something that we talked about before, I mean, if there's that's when we're throwing the app out and it's going out there to the people. I mean, maybe there should be some kind of certification or training that takes place so
That's
that people
something that we're doing. And in fact, actually, that's a perfect kind of segue in that next year, next September, we're going to be running a 3-day conference. Hopefully at the start or the end of Dan Winter's Fractal Conference, if it is going ahead. But we are definitely going to be running a 3-day conference, and we are also going to be doing a much more enhanced training program for practitioners, for sales agents, for essentially the super users of the product. So yes, we are going to be doing that next year, which will culminate in quite an exciting program that we've actually started putting together in the past couple of weeks. you know, to actually really go into detail, have, you know, essentially workshops and, you know, like go into detail on every single function of the product. But we are, you know, there is absolutely no reason why we could not put a certification at the end of our enhanced training program. And that's actually something that Tino has been giving us incredible feedback on. So thank you so much for all your feedback, Tino. It's like very, very valued. But we are going to be doing much more enhanced training because we know that, you know, if you guys have been our super users for the past 3 months and you're still a little bit confused, you know, it's going to be very difficult for the next person to come in, you know. So yes, the training program will be happening soon, which will culminate in a 3-day conference in September of next year. So I hope you can all make it to the magical mountains.
Will all of
Guys,
these,
gotta go. I have to go. Sorry, I have to go.
Michael,
yeah,
good luck.
I
See
have
you
to go
later.
too.
Bye-bye.
Now,
I have to go too, but so all of the new features, which I think are great, how soon will those be on the PC? Because
really soon. Like, in fact, actually, I was just actually installing a version of Windows there again today to actually test it on Windows. Like, so we have everything that I've described to you is available or is about to be available on all platforms. So it'll work Windows, Mac, iPhone, and Android.
because I mean, I'm just using an iPad right now, which I feel is severely limited. That's why I don't use it. Okay. I've got a brand new PC. I mean, this thing is, it's perfect. I think it'll do everything I need it to do. I just would like to see all the features. And I realize that a PC is not a Mac, but you know, there's an awful lot of doctors' offices where, you know, they're on Windows networks. So, you know,
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, you know, all of the features will be available on Windows. So, and you know, I have seen it myself. There's a massive amount of work being put in to actually give full functionality for Windows so that it's the exact same experience, whether you're on a Mac or on a Windows device, or whether you're on an iPad or an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy. You know, like that's the aim, is to get it all synchronized, which it's there now, you know, so just
okay.
maybe an hour or two or maybe a week maximum. And
Okay.
Nedrick will be sending out that magical email.
Anyway, everybody have a nice holiday season. Are we
Okay.
going to be are we going to be having this session the day the 26th of December?
I don't think so. No,
Good.
I think actually this might be the end until 2025. So
Okay.
thank you very much for
Everybody
your
have a nice
support, sir.
holiday season. I got to run. My staff, my crew is beating down my door.
All
Anyway,
right.
this was a great session.
Good to see
Love
you,
you
Daniel.
all. Have a nice holiday.
Have a nice
Take care,
holiday, Daniel. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Yeah, so I guess that's the perfect time just to say thank you all for being amazing, to being an amazing community, to have worked with us, to have had the patience to essentially stick with us while we've had some teething problems. And you guys are essentially, you know, the first users of this amazing technology. And thank you very much from all of the team at BioCoherence for everything you've done. And we look forward to it being a fantastic 2025, you know, where you'll be able to go out to all of the markets. You'll be able to go to all of your patients. You'll be able to help a lot of people with this technology. And we are very excited to work with you next year.
And Steve, this is a shout out to you.
Yes,
Thank you for being there and being patient with us.
Avec plaisir.
And you're a great interface with the creators and us new users. So hang in there, and I appreciate your stable, smiling, positive attitude.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Means a
Have
lot.
a great new year. See you next
Take care,
year.
brother. Look, bye-bye. Bye.
I'd also like to say thank you to you, Stephen, and to Mederick, and also to add that there's a Qigong grandmaster that I've studied under for a number of years, and his prediction for 2025 is that it's going to be a fantastic year for technology and health healing.
Amazing, Kat. And I completely agree. I completely agree. And actually, do you know what? Where we are in the south of France, there's a lot of really interesting things happening. There's a lot of interesting people down here in this very, very special land we find ourselves in. And, you know, like it's a very, very interesting time to actually be able to take technology and convert it into being able to help people, you know? So, it's very, very good. And actually, TJ wants to know who's the Grand Master, Cat? What's
It's
his name?
Master Lin
Master.
Chunyi here in the Twin Cities area.
Okay.
We did a
Fantastic.
drum thing. Were we at that thing? Did you meet him at the farm outside in Wisconsin, like 10 years ago?
No, I studied with him even before that.
Right, but yeah, okay. I was at a thing with him.
It's a small world.
You're there. Yeah.
It's a very small world we live in.
Yeah, we did a drum meditation with him, and we had like we hauled like this huge earth drum, made a
Very
little
good.
pyramid, and brought the crystals out at some farm outside of Hudson. I was just wondering if you were there, maybe.
Yeah, I can send a link to his prediction if anybody's interested.
Yes, please
Please
do.
share in the group.
All
Yeah.
right. I will do that. I'll send it to Stephen, and I can send it to you, TJ, too,
Okay.
since I know your email.
I am also
yeah,
making a
I'll
prediction.
get you on Messenger that picture that I had of the grid there.
Sounds good.
Pretty fun. Yeah, that's good. I like that work.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a great vacation. We will be here over Christmas. If you have any questions, any comments, anything at all in the Telegram chat or via email, because I know this is the time when people actually have a chance to actually sit down and actually work on this. So if you need anything, just let me know, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice holiday, everybody. It's been a pleasure to share this way with you all.
Thank you, Tino. Take care. Right, that's